Hello, everyone. Welcome back to school. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving break. We are going to get started with a new unit to start the second 9 weeks. And I think you will have a lot of fun learning about these new artists. So let's get started. I bet you like the background I have today. It's a lot of fun. It reminds me of confetti, and it is an artwork created by our artist we will be learning about today. And I think you will really like the artwork that you get to create for this as well. So let's get started because we do have a new unit to begin. I'm going to change my camera over to my slides so that I can share them with you. And of course, we'll start with the kitten update. There are Maggie and Molly cuddling. I actually woke them up from a nap. I didn't realize they were upstairs sleeping, being calm for once. And then you know how it goes. You give a cat a box. You've just given them the best toy in the world. So good thing there were two, because they're not always the best at sharing. So there's your Maggie and Molly update for the week. Okay, we are going to be learning about the principles of design. And that sounds a little complicated, but actually they're very simple things that you probably already know a lot about. In fact, you probably use these things a lot in different areas of your life. You just don't realize it. So what are the principles of design? It's a fancy term used to say the rules that artists use when using the elements of art. So these are just kind of the rules that you follow as an artist when you make your masterpiece. We're going to be learning about two of these each week, with the exception of 1 week. We'll learn about just one to finish it off. So, which two will we learn about today? We are going to start with pattern. I bet you've made a pattern before. A pattern, excuse me, is the repeating of certain elements, such as line or shape within an artwork. So if you repeat something, if you alternate it with something else, you are making a pattern. Here are some examples of patterns and things that you may have created or done before. If you've ever crocheted, you've probably followed a pattern. That's when you have a hook and you use yarn to make different loops to create a design. If you've ever played music, you have done a pattern before because music is often created through the different patterns of notes. Maybe you've seen different lines overlaid to create plaid. That's a popular pattern at this time of the year. Or you've strung beads in a pattern that alternates different colors. You may also have seen a pattern on a ceiling. This is a ceiling, by the way, in a rotunda, which is the dome shape inside of a building. Or you've seen a pattern of tile on the floor. So patterns are all around us, and I don't think a pattern is anything new to you. Another word that you've actually learned a little bit about this year is contrast. Contrast is opposites. Maybe in language, you've learned about analogies. I'm sorry, not analogies. Antonyms, words that are opposites of each other. Well, when we use contrast in art, we are arranging opposites together. And we may show things such as the light and dark in our art, rough or smooth, or wavy and straight, or small and large. It's just opposites. That's all that contrast is. In fact, you've done contrast this year already when we talked about the complementary colors on the color wheel. And then here's an optical illusion using light and dark, black and white, to create a pattern. So pattern and contrast go together very well, which is why I chose to group them for our lesson today. So an artist that we're going to learn about that uses pattern and contrast is Yayoi Kusama. This is our artist of the week. She is from Japan, and she is known as the Princess of Polka Dots because of the artwork that she creates. She does paintings, she makes sculptures, and she creates a type of artwork called installation art. And installations are artworks that you can walk through. They usually take up an entire room or a part of a building or a hallway, but there's a way for you to become a part of the artwork. And she is one of the most famous artists ever from the country of Japan. This is the country of Japan. It is in Asia, in the Pacific Ocean. It's an island country off the coast of China. And that is what you see here on the map, the country of Japan. This is their flag. Japan is also known as the land of the rising sun, and that's why their flag has a red circle on it. And what do you notice there about the contrast with the red and the white? Many of our flags for different countries have contrast, so different elements of them stand out. Let's look at some of Yayoi Kusama's work. This is one of her sculptures. It's called Yellow Pumpkin. And here is one of her installation artworks. Now, often Yayoi can create artwork that she can become a part of as well. So she usually creates an outfit for herself that matches her completed project. But we see the pattern of the polka dots, and we see how they contrast in color and in size. You can really see the pattern on the pumpkin, how she has the larger ones, the larger polka dots, and then the smaller ones on the side. Here is some more contrast and pattern with the large and small polka dots. And again, you can see that Yayoi is a part of her artwork in this one as well. I like this artwork because it's the black lights. I think black lights are lots of fun. But again, this is a sculpture. She has three-dimensional shapes. She has contrasting colors. And I see a pattern again with her dots. Also, you can see how she's using colors that are similar to each other. These are all neons, neon bright colors. And here is another. This is from the Yayoi Kusama Museum in Japan. This looks like the background that you see behind me today. And I like how she has all of the different color dots arranged with larger sizes of polka dots as well. Okay, and for the last one I wanted to show you, this is from an art gallery that she helped design in Australia. And it is very polka dotted and bright. And I just wanted to share that with you because it's so fun to look at. Okay, so that is Yayoi Kusama. And that is how she uses contrast and pattern to create her polka dotted masterpieces. So let me bring the camera back to me for a second. Okay. What we are going to do today is we are going to make some polka dotted artwork. We're going to make some Yayoi Kusama trees. Now I am going to show you how to do this pencil paper. So if you want to draw using the ways we've already learned how to draw this year with something to write with, write on and color with, you may continue with this video. If you want to try drawing with your iPad, I will do a video for that as well. If you want to draw this project on your iPad using Sketches School, you can stop the video now and start the video below that's just for how to draw this on the iPad. You can pick. You do not have to do both. Just pick whichever one you want to do. Okay? So if you plan on continuing with your paper and pencil, you can get those ready, and we will draw some polka dotted Yayoi Kusama trees that show pattern and contrast, how things repeat and how they are opposites, in just a moment. Okay, you should see my table and you should see my paper. That is landscape on my desk. So it's not portrait, I'm going to do it landscape. So it's going to be horizontal, and that will give me enough room to draw my trees. What we're going to do, we're going to use some geometric shapes to draw some trees, and we're going to make them like pine trees, since it's, you know, that time of the year where we might, or you might be decorating a tree for a holiday. So what I'm going to do, you may want to use a straight edge. I'm just going to use the edge of a notepad to draw a straight edge to get started. But to start out with our trees, I am going to draw a triangle. And remember, I always make my lines, actually I'm going to turn my notepad and use it long ways. I always make my lines darker for on camera so that you can see them. You may want to use a lighter touch, okay? So I'm just going to put that out there. Now, it doesn't matter how big you make your tree. You could make a bunch of large trees. You can make some smaller trees. But I'm going to start with a line, and I'm making a triangle to start. Your triangle does not have to be a perfect triangle, and you will see why in just a moment. In fact, if it doesn't touch completely at the top, that's okay. All right. In fact, mine's not going to touch completely at the top, and I'm okay with that because you will not see the tip of it when I'm done. So after I draw that first triangle, I'm going to come down about to here, not halfway, but close to the tip where my triangle would be. And I am going to draw a triangle that's a little bit smaller than the one I just drew. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line there. And then don't worry if it's not perfect because I have yet to see a perfect tree. They all look different. I'm going to draw this triangle, connect it, and you can see how it overlaps just a little bit. Then I'm going to go up here at the top, and I am going to draw one more triangle. I may make this line a little bit longer on this side. And then I will, oops, connect them as well. Oh, I didn't draw that line all the way. It's always nice to use a ruler, but if you don't have a ruler, you can always use a pencil. Use a notepad or anything that's got a straight edge. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase down the center. And I will have my tree shape. And if I want to go back and fix anything, I certainly can. But don't be so worried if your tree doesn't look exactly like you'd want it to. Just have the basic idea of that shape down. And then I'm going to make another geometric shape and put in my tree trunk. Now, what you can do on either side of the tree you just made, you could make a few more. So I am going to draw a tree over to the side. Don't worry if they don't connect at the top, because you will not see it at the end. All right, so let's draw some trees. Meanwhile, while you're drawing these trees, we are going to be adding, you guessed it, some polka dots. So you can be thinking, what colors would you like to use for your tree? Oops, I did not make that line very straight. But think about what colors you would like to use for your tree. Do you want to use colors that are pastel? Do you want to use some seasonal colors that are complementary, like red and green? I'm sure that you could come up with some very unique ideas, but what I want you to think about is that your colors should contrast, meaning they need to be opposites. So you may use a light or dark color. You may use some complementary colors. I'm thinking I'm going to use some complementary colors for my trees. I'm going to draw one more over here. And then, how would you like to make the pattern for your trees? We're going to be doing polka dots. So are you going to do like some polka dotted lines? Or are your polka dots going to go kind of large and small, like an alternating pattern? I will show you several ways you could do it with the trees that I create. All right. I'll do one more. And then we'll be ready to go. All right, and if you would like to, and I will do this on mine, you can put in some land. So you can put in a horizon, and I will do that here. I'm just going to draw a line. It's going to be a little wavy that connects my trees to the ground. Okay, so there we go. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing that I would do is I would decide what color to make my trees. I'm going to use marker, but you know me, I let you use with anything that you have the colors. I would decide what color you're going to make your trees because you don't want to start doing your polka dots and then color in your trees. They will smear. And you know what? I think that I am going to use, I was going to use green, but I am going to use blue because Yayoi always seems to use some unique colors that are a little unexpected. So I'm going to make my trees light blue. You don't have to make your trees light blue. You can make your trees pink, yellow, green, but be thinking about how are you going to show contrast, and they don't all have to be the same color either. In fact, I'm thinking I may do trees that are different colors. And I picked up a marker here that's a little dry, but that's okay. All right, so I've got one tree, and then I think maybe I will do this light green for the middle tree. And after we color our trees in, we will start with our polka dot patterns, and I will show you some different ways you can polka dot your trees. Sometimes when I color with marker, I like to get the edges colored first and then color in. You can choose to do that too if you'd like. You can also choose to color the background and the ground of your artwork. I'm not going to do that today because I think that might drain my markers all the way. But you could if you'd like to. In fact, if you wanted to do that with crayon or colored pencil, if you were coloring in marker, that would be a nice idea. So once we get our trees colored, we will start with our polka dots. And we will be polka dotting our background as well. So keep that in mind. We're going to put some dots in our background. So if you are planning on coloring your background, you may want to do a yellow tree. You may want to go ahead and do that before you start with your pattern. Otherwise, it may smear. It may not look like you had hoped it would. Okay, so I've got my trees colored, and I may just go ahead and give them all, well, I'm gonna wait and color the trunk based on the pattern. So I think I'm gonna use a little purple, a little pink, oop, that's not pink, that's pink, and maybe a darker blue for my dots. And you know what, I'm gonna throw some black in there too. So let me show you some different ways you could do the patterns for your trees. First of all, I'm going to make my tree trunk black. Remember, this is not realistic art, so it does not have to be like something you would see in the wild or in nature. Let me show you how I would do the pattern with the large dots and the small dots like you saw in that pumpkin sculpture. I would start down the middle. And I would try to keep my polka dots about the same size. Then I would go off to the side and I would make my dots just a little bit smaller. And she did it like lines, polka dotted lines. So try to keep them lined up. If they don't, you know, it's not a big deal. And then you could maybe put in one more where they're very small and close together. Oops, I need to go back up there at the top. You can just pick one style of this to do for your entire tree, but I am going to show you a couple different ones. Now, you might want to go back on the sides and do those larger polka dots again. And then your pattern repeats. Okay, so there's one way you could do it. For another way, you could just do alternating styles of dots, or sizes of dots rather. So on this little tree right here, I might start with a purple dot, and I'm going to draw it off to the side a little bit. In fact, I might draw several of them that are kind of close to the sides. I'll draw one down here. And I think I might just color in my tree trunk purple as well. And then I might use another color. I know I said I was going to do blue. I wonder if this blue will show up on here. I might do some smaller dots in between. Right? And then, I know I said I was going to be pink. I'm kind of changing my mind here as I draw these. I could do for my last tree, you don't have to just do two colors. You could do multicolors. In fact, you saw that last room that Yayoi designed. It was like a color explosion in there. So you could pick many colors to do in your pattern to show, and also to show contrast. So I'm going to maybe do if you orange. Kind of reminds me of a pizza tree. Wouldn't that be fun? You can just eat pizza off a tree. That would make a cool picture too. I'm going to do some orange, so I've cut some primary, secondary colors there. Then I'm going to put in the complementary color of purple, and I might do some little tiny polka dots. Remember, you could just choose any one style, or you can mix and match like I'm doing it. Up to you. And then I might go in and did some medium sized. These are green. It's like a nice forest green. I'm changing my mind as I do these. All right. So however you want to do your dots for your tree, hey, go right ahead. And then you can continue this pattern in your background. So to do that, you could just do the entire one with the dots to go from large to small, or you could mix it up. I'm going to kind of do mine so it goes from one to the other so you can just see what those would look like. So I could do my background. And if you see how I'm making my polka dots, you don't have to draw in all the circles and color them in for this. If you're making a polka dot, just go round and round and round until you have a fairly circular shape. It doesn't have to be exact. I don't think Yayoi sits there and makes sure her dots are exactly the right size. And then you go in with that smaller color, or in any order you'd like. You put your tiny polka dots in. So you've got a pattern here of large, medium, and small. And then put them in a little out of order, that's okay. We put our medium-sized dots. I bet some of you into, or some of you interested in Japanese art, because I know anime is still popular. There's a couple other drawing styles from Japan that my students have been interested in over the years. Okay, now let's do our small, medium, large dots that are lined up. I'll even start from the middle. And work my way out. Kind of like how this turns out with the combo style of polka dots. Oops, could have brought that over a little bit, but that's okay. Remember, you meant to do that. Right, and then I would just start it over again, making my dots. So see there, drawing doesn't always, or art doesn't always have to be making something look realistic. Patterns are art too. In fact, many of the things that you wear have a pattern on it. They aren't a perfect representation of a tree or another object. So keep that in mind when you say, I can't do art. Oh, I bet you can. All right, put one more line here, line of polka dots here. Did you know Yayoi didn't start out doing her polka dots? That was not her preferred, or where she planned on drawing. She was actually a very serious artist, and then happened along this style of artwork. And then for my last one, I'm just doing the large and small dots, polka dots rather, not just dots, they're polka dots. And like I said, you can pick any one of these, or you can do a combination of all three, or just pick two that you like. whichever ones you enjoy. And you could take this entire pattern down here to the ground if you'd like. I think I'm going to go ground alone for today, though. Make that look a little more dotty. Okay, and then you can go around with the small dots. And I am just arranging these in a pattern of my choosing, and you can as well. Trying to copy the pattern I started off with in the trees. Okay. So there we have our Yayoi Kusama trees. It kind of looks like snow, doesn't it? Wow, that would be some interesting snow to see falling from the sky. But let's go over this one more time. We're doing the principles of design. And we have a pattern of large and small polka dots. And we are showing contrast with light and dark, large and small. And even depending on how you arranged your lines, you could have straight or wavy or zigzag, however you arranged your lines of polka dots. So we're showing opposites when we do contrast. And this is representing the work of Yayoi Kusama, the polka dot princess of Japan. So I hope you liked making this. This is awfully fun to do. We will be learning about another Japanese artist this month as well. And if you want to do the computer, the Sketches School app, you can, but you don't have to. Totally up to you. I'm going to show those that are interested in it how they can do that. So have a marvelous week. I will talk to you next week, at least. Be safe, make good choices, and I hope you enjoyed creating today. Bye-bye.